A lot of people talk about AI in law firms and where that's going. Is your lawyer going to be an AI? It's interesting because you can use it right now. You could use Chat GPT, and I think it's cool that someone who's maybe lower income could go toe to toe with their landlord because they sort of have this Chat GPT lawyer in their pocket that's teaching them how to negotiate. But what it lacks is the enforcement mechanism, right? It's not like
Yeah.
Chat GPT has a law degree and says like, I'm going to sue you tomorrow. It's like, well, that's not intimidating in any aspect, right? So I think where we're moving is the lower end of law. You could sign up for $59 a month
Yep.
and you're fighting XYZ. I think on the more complicated stuff, we're far away from that.
Welcome back to the Traffic That Leads podcast. I'm your host, Ted DeBettencourt. Today, we're excited to welcome Jordan Whelan, from founder of Grey Smoke Media, one of Canada's top legal marketing agencies. With a background as a TV and radio producer and publicist, Jordan has managed over $3 billion in class action claim communications and overseen $50 million in media buying and digital campaigns. Under his leadership, Grey Smoke Media helped transform Diamond and Diamond Lawyers from a small practice into Canada's leading injury and real estate law firm. His insights have been featured in Forbes, the New York Post, and over 100 international outlets, making him a trusted voice in legal marketing and media strategy. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thank you so much. I was saying I was jealous that you're in some sort of a cabin bunker.
Thank you, thank you.
Given the state of the world, it's quite appealing right now.
Well, to be fair, there's a stream near me, and when it comes up, like it's a little bit dicey around here. So I don't know how much of a bunker it would be, but it works for now. So Jordan, tell me more about Gray Smoke Media, or actually, I want to hear more about you. How'd you get started in this crazy world of legal marketing?
Very circuitous journey that I could have never predicted. When I was 23 years old, I worked in morning radio, then I worked in television, then I worked in newspapers. I wrote a newspaper column, I was just trying a bunch of things, and I started to learn all things media, how they're connected. PR, what we call free advertising,
Mhm.
and just try to figure out how to get my clients on the news. I worked at a PR firm and I found it quite easy. It was a little different back then. And we would get them on the 6 o'clock news. There'd be a million impressions. We could kind of work back like what that was worth to people.
Mhm.
And then I started to see how it was all interrelated. You know, you were getting them a hit on the news, which you got an SEO backlink, which you could leverage for SERPs, and then credibility. And I started to see how it was all working together as one, the synergy. And so I left that PR firm and I started working with a law firm called Diamond and Diamond. At the time, there were probably 30 people in Toronto. And it was at a time when Canada, where personal injury advertising was just kind of starting. We were lagging behind the US, like many other things. And we grew them from 20 to 30 people to about 650 today.
Whew.
They're the biggest personal injury firm in the country, biggest real estate law firm in the country. And in that, we kept iterating, and then they'd say, "Oh, you know, you're doing our PR, you're doing a good job. Can you do this for us? Can you try this for us?" And I'm an autodidact, so I just kind of said, "Yeah, I'll do your media buying. Yeah, I'll teach myself digital strategy and content, and how everything was just working as one puzzle." And then earlier this year, I moved to the United States, currently in Los Angeles, and I have niched it down the firm into sort of an all-in-one legal marketing agency,
Mhm.
elite branding, elite clients, ideally just kind of working with injury firms at this point.
Mhm.
But what we specialize in is unorthodox traffic generation. So we were talking about earlier, you know, I do a lot of these interviews. It's the same keyword research, AdWords, SEO, blah, blah, blah. And I sort of come in and say to people, let us work as sort of an internal CMO and
Yep.
let us come up with unorthodox ways to get you traffic, places
Love
you
it.
hadn't even thought of.
Mhm. So would love to kind of pick your brain on that a little bit more. When I think unorthodox traffic, I don't really know what that means. So, what are some strategies or some tactics rather you're using to help generate some unorthodox traffic?
So you go where the people are that
Hmm.
aren't being served high cost per click ads, right? So if you run AdWords and you try to bid for the main keywords, you're just going toe for toe with a client, right? You're
Yep.
all day long, you're paying personal injury goes up to like $120 a click. So it's
Ooh.
just like you're not getting anywhere
Yeah.
really. With SEO, it's great because if you go to sell the business, it's sort of like renting versus owning. You've built this funnel with SEO, but it costs a lot of money and you put a lot of money into it, backlinks, content, etc. What I've been doing over the past 12 to 24 months is sort of realizing, okay, where are the people and how can we get them at a lower cost per click, lower acquisition than your competitors? So, for example, one easy way to do this is to just search the keywords in your industry. Say it's
Mhm.
like divorce lawyer Toronto. Maybe Quora comes up. Maybe there's clients on Quora that need answers. Maybe YouTube comes up. Those
Yep.
YouTube results are on page one. Are you responding to comments there? Do you have videos there? Maybe you go on Pinterest and do some pins. Maybe you're leveraging AI to be on TikTok and that's showing up on page one. And so what we define as SEO traditionally has completely shifted in that sense.
Yep.
And so you have to get nimble and creative.
Yep.
And so that's what we've come up with for clients is sort of like, okay, what are your competitors doing? How do we do it cheaper? How do we do it more creative? And then how do we continue to bring in this younger generation with the attention span of, 5 seconds?
Yeah, that's awesome. So how do we get the TikTok generation to respond to these ads? Maybe don't meet them where they are, it sounds like. Don't try to get them to go where you want them to go.
Yeah, and don't try to make content that's cringy and appealing to them and
Yeah.
isn't inauthentic. And some lawyers trying to be like he's 21 years old. I mean, I think there is something with lawyers where, from a branding and content perspective, I don't want a lawyer that's acting like a clown. I
Yeah.
don't want a lawyer that's trying to be a star. There's nothing about that appeals to me. But that being said, it's a really fine line because you also want to be approachable because
Yeah.
lawyers are traditionally seen as pompous and, off-putting in a lot of ways. So you can kind of figure out how do I be myself? And it might just be getting on your iPhone in your car and talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that authenticity you're trying to bring for your clients. And I really love the approach of meeting clients where they are. So it's not just rankings, keywords. It's figuring out where clients are going. So how do you enact that strategy on a scalable level though? So what are some ways that you're telling clients to be where the clients are? What are some real world tactics that they're doing or you're helping them?
I start with always asking people when they contact me, what are we selling?
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Some people will run a business for 5 years and they don't know the unique value proposition. It's like, okay, I'm a family law firm. Great. There's thousands of those. But what are we actually selling? It's like when I go to your website, what is it evoking? What are the colors evoking? The fonts?
Yeah.
Am I a woman and there's 12 dudes and I don't see myself
Yeah.
represented and maybe I'm clicking off?
Yep.
So it really starts with sort of a branding session, figuring out what we are, what's interesting about us. With Diamond, it was really tough advocacy, right? You've got these billion-dollar insurance companies that are going to come after you, and your best bet is to go with a big law firm that is willing to take them on
Hmm.
because then you won't get pushed aside. So that was
Yeah.
an easy sell. Or I had a divorce lawyer client, and we realized, looking through the numbers, we realized 70% of divorces were initiated by women. So we actually realized, oh, this was a play to get females, and we were
Is
going
that
where the
true?
females
70%?
were. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
it's interesting stat. So we went where
Yeah.
the women were. We ran radio ads where the women were,
Yeah.
where the competitors did the ego play. They're on the sports stations trying to impress their bros. And we were thinking, oh, the women are actually here, and let's make creative for women. And
I love
suddenly it's
that.
a better campaign. So I think what it is when you come to an agency, you really have to. We're not traditional in any sense, and you kind of come to us, and we're a business partner. We're
Yeah.
thinking, how do we scale you in 12 months, 24 months, and that's
You sound like
everything
you have
from
that background. So you took Diamond from what, 35 to what are they at now?
650 people.
Holy,
Yeah,
that's quite the resume.
yeah. But credit to them, they're deferential when they need to be. I
Yep.
mean, that's another thing with lawyers is that they don't know when to shut up. They think because they have a law degree, they know how inbound traffic works. And so the ones that check their ego at the door are going to prevail.
Awesome. Awesome. How do those meetings go? I mean, I'm sure you can't be that blunt with them. How are you having those meetings?
I'm
Hey,
blunt.
are you?
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm very blunt. I mean, my personality is abrasive in a lot of ways, just because I don't really dance around. I don't find the utility in that. Um, I think off the bat, if you find a client that's really, combative, and
Hmm.
when you start to bring up these things, you can kind of sense it. I personally just get out of the way. I don't deal with people like that. I say to people, listen, I want to get you from point A to point B. We're not here to offend each other. We're just here to be very honest. And those relationships, whether it's platonic, romantic, that's just what's always worked for me.
Hmm.
And so you'd be surprised. I mean, some lawyers are very over the top, and I don't work with them. But lawyers can actually be great clients, and I'm sure you can relate. Is that like they're busy? They're billing
Yeah.
$600 an hour, so they're not having an emotional outburst On a
Yeah.
Tuesday to you, they're saying, what are the numbers got to go by?
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. So aside from the unorthodox traffic, what do your typical engagements look like? How are you building? You start working with a lawyer, they say, shoot, Jordan, you took them from 335 to 650 employees. I want to do that too. What do you do? How does that engagement look?
Well, I have a minimum financially that I don't, I'm sure like with agencies and stuff like that, sometimes it just doesn't work. You're
Yep.
covering your staff, you're covering your costs. I just deal with transparency very much. If someone comes and says, "Hey, I want to do SEO in this major market," I say, "Great, all the competitors are doing 10 to 15 grand a month. You're coming in at seven. Good luck. I'm not gonna come in there. You got to manage expectations. If we don't
Yep.
spend this much, we're not gonna compete.
So you
It's
you
weird.
do the normal SEO as well, though.
I do, but it's changing now. It's what I defined as SEO, or is the umbrella term of it's the TikTok search bar, it's the YouTube search
Yeah.
bar. It's not
It's
let's get
not
some
just Google.
backlinks and rank. Yeah, because you look at page one now, and what's coming up is so different. So I'm transparent on pricing. I turn people away very quickly, but we position ourselves as more of a internal CMO business partner.
Yep.
We're not an agency where we're gonna bill you 5 grand a month. Our profit margin's 1,500, and it just doesn't work like that. You can't run a business like that. And also, they want to talk to one person. They don't want to go to four agencies and a bunch of 22-year-olds that are conversing amongst each other. They want that symbiosis of like, you're the dude I call on a Thursday, you give it to me, and then that's it. And I can go
Yep.
back to my life. So
Yep.
that's the area I've positioned myself in, and comes along with, branding and everything else like that.
Gotcha. But so you'll help them top to bottom, it sounds like. So the SEO, you do traditional, the PPC, the LSAs, and all that stuff as well, or you source that out?
I don't do PPC at this point. I outsource it, frankly, because there's just no money in it. I don't know how people run these agencies. God bless them. But I sort of come in and say, hey, you're all in one legal marketing agency. You need us to do
Yep.
media buying, radio, TV. We got that. We got the PR. We got the SERPs. We got the SEO. That's the one niche I don't do. But it's more than that. I kind of realized along the way that you need someone to just call and say, is
Yeah.
this vendor screwing me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you look into this? And so I sort of was like, that lawyers would call me and they'd be like, hey, I don't want to do all this stuff. I just
Yeah.
want someone to give it to me straight and I can call and you're the one point of contact. So
So
that's
you're
where I'm
serving as
sitting
more their
now.
CMO.
Yeah, essentially.
I
I'm
gotcha.
saying if you want to hire a great one internally, that's 175 a year,
Yep.
or you have someone like me with a track record who can deal with it. I much prefer those kind of clients. I much prefer to just kind of deal with all facets of the marketing mix and not really, hey, we're just going to do your SEO for 8 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's just not interesting to me at all.
Yep.
But again, they have to be good people. I don't work with jerks. I don't work with people that I don't want to see succeed. That we go for lunch and they're talking smack to the waitress. I just at this point in my career, I just don't want to help anyone that I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to be at a spot where you can be there. Was it always legal, or have you tried other verticals, or you love legal, or why'd you decide on law?
Um, it's just because Diamond and Diamond as a case study. Prior, Gray Smoke Media used to be just a generalized marketing agency. We work with Brookfield Asset Management. We work with the Pan Am Games. I work with pharmaceutical companies, big clients with big budgets. And I sort of realized, let me niche down because
Yep.
lawyers were sort of underserved, and they tend to be pretty good clients if you can psychologically analyze them off the bat and realize what kind of a person you're dealing with. A lot of them are actually nicer than I mean, they're just usually pretty nice. I tend to deal with the major market family firm
Yeah.
rather than kind of the massive players. But I like working with them, and it's an industry that I have a lot of experience in. We are open to kind of working with a lot of people, and I do some consulting on the side. If it's something that interests me, like AI or crypto or something going on, I think I can help. But again, I'm a creative person at the end of the day, so I'd
Mhm.
rather just you come with me with a problem and we solve it, and maybe we get you 25,000 inbound traffic on Pinterest every month that no one else thought of.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things I come up with that I find a lot more interesting than, let us buy some backlinks and do some SEO.
Yeah. Fair. Fair. Um, and you brought up AI. How are you seeing, since your early work with Diamond and Diamond, how have you seen AI change the competitive landscape for the work you do?
I've seen clients leverage it for intake. I've seen clients leverage it for, CRM analysis, marketing analysis. Uh, it's kind of constantly in flux, right? And I'm sure
Hmm.
you've kind of seen it's one week it's this and that. I don't think we're at the place where we can use it to generate a lot of video content
Yep.
and then we would lose credibility because you can
Yep.
kind of tell now.
Yeah.
But I do think we're pretty close, and I do
Yeah.
think there's a lot of ways you can leverage it right now. I think the biggest thing you can use it for is competitor analysis.
Yeah.
That's what I normally do. If a client comes in and says, "Hey, I want to compete with this company," I can use it to kind of be like, "Okay, where are they getting their traffic? What are they doing? What keywords are they using? What are they gobbling up?" And it's sort of like an internal consulting agency,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
hire
Yeah.
them to do the intel. So I use it like that,
Hmm.
besides the personal uses I use it for. I think where things are going now, it's going to be content, content, content. And I don't mean written content because people don't read. I think short form video content pushed onto 10 to 12 channels simultaneously
Yep.
is the play right now. Because I'm seeing TikTok, Instagram come up on page one, obviously with YouTube and stuff like that. So you kind of have to be out there. And so we do the competitor analysis, we do the keyword analysis, and then we can look at like titling, we can look at descriptions and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's just like a big pie of traffic. That's what the
Mhm.
online space is. And the question is, how much of that do you carve out for yourself? And you got to go everywhere. Like I said, you might answer a question on Quora. It might generate 80 to 100 inbound clicks to your website every month permanently.
Yep.
And that took you 10 minutes
Yeah.
versus, you're scrambling on the SEO front. You're dropping 10 to 20 grand to get that 500 clicks per month or what it is. And then it goes away.
Hmm.
So I look where the inbound traffic is, whether it's on social and platforms, and then I ask the client, okay, let's grab as many inbound funnels as we can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it sounds like a lot of non-traditional ways that you're helping your clients succeed. That's what's going on now. And I'm going to ask you for the crystal ball here. Where are we going to be in 2 to 5 years from now, Jordan, for our law?
Oh, I thought you meant in general. I said probably a bunch of robots with machine guns on their back. Probably that's where we're generally headed.
Those
Um,
Boston, you ever see those videos of the Boston?
oh God,
Yeah,
it's
those are
terrifying.
scary.
Uh, with all this AI and stuff like that, it's equally interesting and equally horrifying at the same
Yeah,
time at this point. It was interesting. A lot of people talk about AI in law firms and where that's going. Is your lawyer going to be an AI? It's interesting because you can use it right now. You could use Chat GPT, and I think it's cool that someone who's maybe lower income could go toe to toe with their landlord because they sort of have this Chat GPT lawyer in their pocket that's teaching them how to negotiate. But what it lacks is the enforcement mechanism, right? It's not like
yeah,
Chat GPT has a law degree and says like, I'm going to sue you tomorrow. It's like, well, that's not intimidating in any aspect, right?
yeah,
So I think where we're moving is the lower end of law. I think with contracts, or you're fighting a parking ticket, or you're fighting a landlord, I think someone's going to come out with something that's sort of overseen by people with law degrees that you could sign up for $59 a month
yep.
and you're fighting XYZ. I think on the more complicated stuff, we're far away from that. I had a conversation with someone the other day who's going to law school for contract law, and I talked them out of it because I sort of said, my chat GPT is a pretty good contract lawyer now, and you haven't even started. I mean, I don't know. I mean, also with personal injury law, there's a lot of, I live in Los Angeles, there's a lot of autonomous driving cars. So the
Yeah,
question is, once it's not going to happen immediately, but say 10% of the cars on the road are no longer in accidents, your personal injury law firm with their main income source is the car accidents, what happens next?
yeah,
So that's going to shift, but you still need the enforcement mechanism of the law degree and
yep.
the insurance behind it all and the governing body to actually make changes. So we'll see where that's going to go. In terms of marketing, I don't know. I watch it every week. I think if you have a marketing agency that isn't on top of this stuff, like I'll give you an example. If you don't like, I don't use really Google much anymore, right? And so I'm constantly using ChatGPT. The amount of law firms that are optimizing their website for actually AI are maybe 5%.
Is that low?
So yeah, so you're leaving maybe 25,000 clicks a month
Ooh,
on the out there because you didn't optimize your pages for human language,
yep.
right? And so if you're listening to this and you're a lawyer, go on ChatGPT, say your city, who's the best car accident lawyer in Tampa, Florida, and see what comes up. You might be number one for SEO, but you might be nowhere to be found.
Ah,
And that's an easy fix. And the biggest easy fix for me that I absolutely love is Google My Business. optimizing that page with content, Q&As.
Oh,
I was
more
able
than
to
just
drive about
reviews. So it's more than just reviews now. Utilizing those Q&As is big.
a whole thing because no one thinks of it. But I was able to drive about $1 million in business a year for a client
And
by
that's
just
through
optimizing that
Optima.
page.
I didn't even realize that. So it's more than just reviews
Yeah.
now. It's there's a whole system involved with that.
Yeah, it's so you can optimize the keywords. There's Q&As you can answer, which is super easy. You can get right on that. You can upload photos. You can literally upload content to the thing, and then you're trying to optimize it so the radius increases, right?
Yeah.
With citations and stuff like that. But it's an easy, that client, it was a 3-month project and it was about $1.1 million in new business. Just because he's in a market which they're spending money on AdWords or whatnot. They don't think about it. So that's an easy win right off the top. And then I start
And
to
own
attack the
traffic. So it's not Google Ads. You turn that you're not turning that faucet
exactly.
off like you do with Google Ads.
Yeah, and then you go to sell the business and you turn to the buyer and you say, "Hey, we don't get our money from AdWords. We actually have this amazing funnel
Yeah.
that is driving 7 figures a year that we set up." And that's much more appealing to anyone
Oh,
buying your
heck
law
yeah.
firm than saying, "I got to spend 25,000 a month on AdWords to keep this place going." So, it's like a house that you're adding, different areas to it.
Adding new
And
wings to that
so,
house.
exactly, it's a complete like no-brainer, but these agencies, I mean, not talk too much smack about people, but these agencies are just they're doing the same things they did 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and they don't even think to what about the easy low-hanging fruit that we could go after.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And it sounds like you're bringing a new perspective for law firms that they're not getting anywhere else. So I think that's awesome what you're doing, Jordan. Do you mind
Thanks,
if I
man.
ask you a few more serious questions?
Well, ask me anything you want.
You're on death row for a crime you didn't commit. What's your last meal?
Surf and turf, lobster, ribeye.
Good answer. Good answer. Weird fact about you that maybe you shouldn't share.
I don't know if it's weird, but I haven't really mentioned this because it's a little out there, but I'm really into metaphysics and reality shifting,
Yeah.
quantum mechanics. The larger picture of what I actually teach my clients to do besides marketing is to shift to a new reality, which we could do a whole podcast on that. I had a chronic illness for 18 years that I was about to have my entire colon removed with a colostomy bag, and I cured it naturally with biohacking and metaphysics.
Oh, wow. Okay. So not just
Yeah.
reading a bunch of philosophy books, you've applied this to your life and seen results.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like Joe Dispenza's work. You basically shift to the state of being in which you're no longer sick and your body heals itself.
And it worked for you.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been on medication for 3 years. If people
Congratulations.
search on YouTube Jordan Whelan, I've kind of explained it before. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's largely what I teach people also is how quantum mechanics works, how reality works, and then also how to shift into the new parallel reality.
That's cool. I do want to dig in more of that. I don't think right
Yeah.
here we can do that though. Favorite exercise workout? When was the last time you did it?
I do CrossFit for 3-month intervals until I blow out my shoulder or my knee, and then I take a break.
I,
It sounds
that's
like
about how long
everyone,
I
right?
lasted in CrossFit, so I feel that.
Yeah, it's a great. Listen, I always tell people, I'm like, it's a great workout, and then you just wait till something blows, and you go to the physio, and then you get back at it.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. Train well. Best part of your work day and best part of your home day.
My best part of my home day is I do in the morning. I do red light therapy, and then I meditate for about 30 minutes. That's actually the secret to a lot of my life and my success and things is a clear mind, getting the chaos out of there. So that's the best part. And then my workday is honestly helping a good client who's actually a good human being who cares about their family, who cares about their community, and actually seeing them do well in the face of a competitor who might be a jerk.
Yeah,
It's sort of like that there's just that part of you that used to watch cartoons as a kid and wants the
David
good
versus Goliath.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want them to succeed. And so I like helping good people, and that's what I shifted in the past year. If I have a client contact me and I don't like them, I'm like, goodbye. I'm not
yeah.
even gonna help you.
Life's too short. Love it. Love it. Well, if people want to learn more about Gray Smoke Media, where should they go?
Best place to go is greysmokemedia.com, GREY smokemedia.com. You can book a 30-minute meeting. I do consulting as well, or just reach out and see if we're a fit.
Awesome. And I'll put a link in the show notes, Jordan. Thank you very much for your time and look forward to keeping up with your career.
Thanks a lot, Ted.
Thank you.